Shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Ayana. I'll be your facilitator today for the YHUHderek channel. And today we are going to be talking about second Pasach and its limited use. So let us get started. All right, so we are going to start right at the original verses for the reasons for second Pasach, which is the second month of Zau or Zu or Zif, depending on if you use vowel pointing Nakud or not. So we're going to read in Midbar chapter 9, verses 6 through 13. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Pasach on that day, meaning on the 14th of the first month, which is Abiyab or Abib with an akud. And they came before Moses, and before Aaron on that day. And those men said to him, "We are defiled by the dead body of a man. Are we kept back that we may not offer an offering of Yahuwah in his set time among the children of Yasharal?" And Moshe said to them, "Stand still, and I will hear what Yahuwah will command concerning you." And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the children of Yasharal, saying, if any man of you or of your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Pasach to Yahuwah. The 14th day of the second month at evening they shall keep it, and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs." So you see here, Yahuwah stated that, okay, so if you are burying a family member and you are unclean, then you can wait until the second month, but it has to be during the same time. You have to start on the 14th day of the second month. You're supposed to kill the Pasach. Everything you're supposed to do with original Pasach, you need to do that on the second Pasach, and only for those reasons. All right, the rest of the verses, and they shall leave none of it, the Pasach and the matzah and the bitter herbs, nor break any bone of it. According to all of the ordinances of the Pasach, they shall keep it. But the man that is clean and is not in a journey, and forbears to keep the Pasach, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he didn't bring the offering of Yahuwah in his set time. That man shall bear his sin. So again, we only see two reasons for celebrating the Pasach in the second month. The first one is a death in the family. You're taking care, you're burying your dead. And the second one being you're on a journey that's too far away to come back in time to do the Pasach at the original time. Everything else pertaining to Pasach has to be followed. Now the question is, why would Yahuwah make the men wait for an entire month to do that? And to answer that question, we're going to talk about the grieving period that's found in Scripture amongst Yasharal during the time that they were in the desert. So we're going to go over the verses that pertain to Aaron's death, and you can find that in the same book, but Midbar chapter 20, and we're going to go through verses 23 and 29. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aaron in Mount Har by the coast of the land of Adam, saying, Aaron shall be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given to the children of Yasharal, because you rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. Take Aaron and his son Eleazar, his son, and bring them up to Mount Har. and strip Arun of his garments and put him on Al-Azar his son. And Arun shall be gathered to his people and shall die there. And Moshe did as Yahuwah commanded, and they went up into Mount Har in the sight of the congregation. And Moshe stripped Arun of his garments and put them on Al-Azar his son. And Arun died at the top of the mount. And Moshe and Al-Azar came down from the mount. And when the congregation saw that Arun was dead, they mourned for Arun 30 days, even all the house of Yasharal. So we see here that because Moshe and Arun disobeyed Yahuwah at the waters of Meribah, that he had told them beforehand that they would not see the land of Yasharal. So this is Aaron, and as you can see that they mourned for him 30 days. Also, just a side point, his son, I know that you know his name is Eleazar, but his name is Al-Azar, meaning Yahu or all as in Alua helps. So that is his name. So here we see 30 days of mourning here. Second witness to that is Moshe's death. And we can find this in Devarim 34, verses 4 through 10. And Yahuwah said to him, being Moshe, this is the land that I swore to Abraham, to Yitzchak, to Jacob, saying, I will give it to your seed. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over therefore. So Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yahuwah. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, or Beth Peor, with Nakud. But no man knows of his grave to this day. And Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were not weak, nor was his strength gone. And the children of Yasharal wept for Moshe in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moshe ended. And Yahusha ben Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moshe laid his hands on him, and the children of Yasharal listened to him, and did as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. And there arose not a prophet since in Yasharal like Moshe, whom Yahuwah knew face to face. So as you can see here also with Moses, that, this was his turn to die. He actually died not too long after Arun, and it was also 30 days of mourning for Moshe and Arun. So we see here that the deaths of Moshe and Arun show that the mourning period is 30 days. And that is why you see, because you have to be clean, you have to be washed up physically clean, but you also have to be spiritually clean. Clean is the word tahar, which means both to be clean and to be pure. So when you bury someone, there is a period of uncleanness, and 30 days ends mourning and gives the person to become clean again according to Yahuwah's stipulation. And that is why 30 days after the original Pasach, for this reason that someone would do Pasach in a second month. All right, so now we're going to take a look at when all of Yasharal celebrated Pasach in the second month. Okay, Hezekiah's reign, or Hezekiah with Nakud. We're going to start, we're going to point out a couple of things in 2nd Chronicles chapter 29. So in the first month of the year, in the first month of the year and the first year of his rule. I'm sorry, I wrote that out wrong. Hezekiah opens the temple to be repaired by the priest. And you can find that in 2 Chronicles 29, verse 3. Then the priest finished purifying the temple, or the Hayakal, on the 16th day of Abiyab, which is Abib with Nakud, in 2 Chronicles 29, verse 17. They actually missed Pasach, which took place on the 14th, and 2 days of Mazut, which would be the 15th and the 16th. So already, because they are turning back to Yahuwah, just one moment. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so because the priests were trying to purify the temple to get ready to worship Yahuwah again, they missed the original beginning of Pasach, which is the 14th of the month of Abiyab. All right, last point. There were not enough priests to perform sacrifices to Yahuwah, and you can find that in 2 Chronicles 29 through 34. So, going into chapter 30, Hezekiah, he becomes king. The very first year of his reign, in the first month, he desires to open the temple to go back to worshiping Yahuwah after all of his forefathers had fallen into idolatry. He talks about this with his princes and all the people, and he's like, okay, we're going to open the temple, and he charges the priests and the Levites, which real name is Luya, and he charged the Luya and the priests to go purify themselves and also to purify the temple. All right. They do that, but they don't get finished. Although they do get finished with the temple in 8 days, they don't complete everything until the 16th day of Abiyab, meaning that they missed the original Pasach by 3 days. All right. So now, he offers Hezekiah, he offers sacrifices. There's not enough priests to do it because not enough purified and sanctified themselves. So now we're going into chapter 30 of the same book, 2 Chronicles, and he wants to reinstitute Pasach. So we'll start at verse 1 through 3. I won't read the whole chapter. I would advise that you read the whole chapter so you can get the full picture, but I don't have enough room to write the whole chapter out. So we're just going to pick out a selection of verses. So verse 1 through 3. And Hezekiah sent to all of Yasharal and Yehuda, and wrote letters also to the Ephraim and to Manasseh, and that they should come to the house of Yahuwah at Jerusalem to keep the Pasach to Yahuwah Eluah of Yasharal. For the king had taken counsel, and his princes and all the congregation in Jerusalem, to keep Pasach in the 2nd month. For they could not keep it at his time, Yahuwah's time, because the priests had not sanctified themselves sufficiently, neither had the people gathered themselves together at Jerusalem. So you see here that the people did have the heart to perform Pasach, but they had not done it the right way on time. So Hezekiah, he determined that, okay, we'll just do it in the 2nd month. All right. And so here, in this picture here is an illustration of the 2nd month of this year. And you can see where there is 2nd Pasach. It starts at the same time, 14th day of the 2nd month, and it goes through the 7 days of Mazuth. All right, so now we're going to go down a little further in the chapter, and we're going to look at verses 13 through 20. And there assembled at Jerusalem many people to keep the Mazuth in the 2nd month, a very great congregation. And they arose and took away the altars that were in Jerusalem, and all the altars for incense they took away and threw them in the Kidron brook. And they killed the Pasach on the 14th day of the 2nd month. And the priest and the Luyah were ashamed and sanctified themselves, and brought in the burnt offerings into the house of Yahuwah. And they stood in their place after their manner, according to the law of Masha, the man of Elua. The priest sprinkled the blood from the hand of the Luyah. For there were many in the congregation who were not sanctified. Therefore, the Luyah had the charge of killing the Pasach for all that were not clean, to sanctify to Yahuwah. For a multitude of the people, many of Ephraim, which is Ephraim, and Manasseh, which is Manasseh, Yashakar, which is Issachar, and Zabulun, which is Zebulun, all of that in the could not cleanse themselves. Yet they did eat the Pasach otherwise than what was written. And Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, Good Yahuwah, pardon everyone that prepared his heart to seek Yahuwah of his fathers, who is not sanctified and set apart. And Yahuwah listened to Hezekiah and healed the people. Okay, so we see that they did keep the Pasach and the Mazuth in the 2nd month. We do see that the priests who had not sanctified themselves sufficiently, remember the last slide, they didn't do it sufficiently, that they became ashamed and they changed their heart and they went and did and sanctified themselves correctly. Also, the people, the congregation, the people of Yasharal and from some of the other tribes in the split tribe of Yasharal and the split tribe of Yehuda, some of them did come, right? And they didn't do things right because, again, the whole nation prior to Hezekiah, Malak, King Hezekiah, prior to his being king, they had all fallen away into idolatry. So they didn't do everything that was right because, number one, they were probably out of practice of doing what was right and didn't know that they had to be clean and sanctified to participate in Yahuwah's Pasach Mazuth. Just one moment. Sorry about that. The phone was ringing. Okay, so we see that the congregation wasn't sanctified. The Luyah and the priest weren't sanctified. And it wasn't according to what Yahuwah said, but Yahuwah pardoned it at Hezekiah's prayer because the people had the heart to turn from their wicked ways and to go back to Yahuwah and observe him. So Yahuwah pardoned the people and he healed the people. All right, so let's align what occurred in Numbers chapter 9, the original occurrence for 2nd Pasach, and what we've just read in 2nd Chronicles chapter 30. So, just like in the case of the original 2nd Pasach in Numbers chapter 9, the priest and the children of Yasharal were unclean and not prepared to do Pasach in the 1st month. Just like the men in Numbers 9, the children of Yasharal and Yehudah, the split kingdoms, were defiled. Now, the men in Numbers 9 were defiled by a dead body, but the congregation that met for Pasach in 2 Chronicles 30, they were defiled by idolatry and all kinds of sin. So it's not the quite same defilement, but it is just defiled, period, according to Yahuwah. And like the men in Numbers 9, they had the heart to want to worship Yahuwah in his Pasach. If you remember, I didn't go over this, but if you go back and look at what the men said in Numbers chapter 9, they said, are we kept back from doing Yahuwah's Pasach because we are unclean? So they wanted to do it, right? But they wanted to check and make sure. So they had a heart to do it, and so did, under Hezekiah or Hezekiah, the people wanted to do it. Lastly, the Levites with Nakud and the priests also had a change of heart and went to do what was right according to Yahuwah's commands and Moshe's instructions, which was sanctify themselves properly. So here you see the people, King Hezekiah, the Luya, and the priest. Everybody wants to turn around and do what's right, because if you read the entire chapter, Hezekiah, he's like, we need to go back. I want to do a covenant with Yahuwah. We need to turn back all this stuff that's happening to us because our fathers have fallen into idolatry. So I want to go back. I want to do the right thing. And so Yahuwah saw that was within everyone's heart that was there. And so he honored what they did and he healed them. So overall, there's only 2 reasons to participate in second Pasach. One is a death, where you have to bury your family member or bury someone. 2, being too far away on some sort of journey or whatever to return in time for Pasach, the original Pasach. Those are the only 2 reasons. Now, because even though we did go over, what happened in 2 Chronicles chapter 30, that should not be included with the reasons for Pasach. Yahuwah was very clear in Numbers 9. These are the only 2 reasons. The aforementioned are the only 2 reasons to do second Pasach. And as a matter of fact, he gives this warning, which I want to put here again in Numbers or Bamidbar 9 verse 13. But the man that is clean and is not on a journey and decides not to keep the Pasach, right? Even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people. And we saw about cut off from among his people because with the death of Arun, Yahuwah said he's going to be gathered to his people, meaning he will be with the righteous people who have passed. He'll be with them. But if you're cut off from being considered, righteous, you don't get to gather with the righteous that have passed away. All right, because he did not bring the offering of Yahuwah in his, meaning Yahuwah's, set time. That man shall bear his sin. So that is a sin that Yahuwah will not forgive unless it was for these reasons. Okay, so please, 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 because I know somebody somewhere is going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to do second Pasach. I'll just do it in the second month. And I want you to get an understanding that there's only 2 reasons to do it. And so it's not because you didn't feel like doing it or you didn't get paid or whatever. these are the only two reasons here. Please do not do second Pasach for reasons outside of the two that's been stipulated here. For those who, unfortunately, in regard of the passing of a family member or someone that you know, if you are, forced to do a second Pasach, I do give my condolences to you, for that. If you're in a journey too far away, I hope that you get back in time. And I pray that I was able to give you a very clear understanding of second Pasach. Everything that is to be done in the original Pasach has to be done in the second Pasach. For those that do have to partake of this second Pasach, everything has to be done. So you might want to go back to Exodus chapter 12 and go over the entirety of the original Pasach and everything, all the rules there. And if you are, if you don't want to do that, you can look at the original Pasach video that I put up just a week, 2 weeks ago, and you can take a look at that for reference. So I pray that you receive this and that it is understood, and hopefully no one has to actually partake of second Pasach for the reasons described. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me at YHUHderek at mail.com. And may Yahuwah baruch you and give you deep understanding, and to gather this information and to be able to, put it out to other people that you know who follow Yahuwah and who follow Yahuwah's commandments. And may he protect you and keep you in all your ways. Thank you for watching, and shalom to you and your family.